Hello, well met. Welcome to the next episode of Greymantle. I have it here, episode 3. I'm not sure if that's really the number, but that's what we're going with.
It is.
Good. I am Eric Scott DeP, the GM of this particular campaign, your guide to the world of balanced light and darkness. I'm a writer, author, game designer, editor, all those kind of things. You can find me online. Anyway, let's get to it. Take it away, Allie.
Hi, everybody. I am Alexandra Pitchford, a writer, game designer, and TTRPG streamer. I do a lot of stuff, but today I am going to tell you about one of our sponsors, which is Idle Champions. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is a strategy game that unites iconic Dungeons and Dragons characters from novels, campaigns, and popular shows into one epic adventure, including Farida, Havilar, and Mehen from the Brimstone Angels novels. The game is available for PC and Mac on Steam and Web, Epic Game Store, Google Play, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, iPad, iPhone, and on all Android devices. For more information, check out idlechampions.com.
Cool. Me next?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. I'm Forda. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Coffee at FordaVare. I illustrate, I play games. I'm going to be playing Sounder, the shifter gutter mage, and super excited to see what we get up to in Dayside today.
Hello there. I'm Jen. I go by Savage Sparrow on the internet. I run Savage Sparrow Studios, a really awesome website where you can find nerdy apparel and accessories. And today I will be playing Oriana, a tiefling warlock who is sort of a unwilling mob princess that is now in a brand new place where she is completely out of her element, and I'm sure that will not be bad at all.
Excellent. Okay. So, the sun is a flame, the bright burning light of revelation. The sun is a trap. In its swamp, no lie may be told and none may hide. But the sun is a liar itself, for the sun always casts shadows. That is from the Wisdom of the Watcher, 5th Canticle of Hellfire Ascendant. And you are in Dayside. It is painfully bright for eyes that are adjusted to the perpetual gloom and twilight of Nightside. Coming into Dayside is torturous. Fortunately, Sounder has shown you the path to a smuggling cave with boats inside that allows you to get out of the bright heat of the radiance bearing down upon you. The exact circumstances by which you came here, violent, destructive, explosive, not discreet in most ways, but you have some of what you came for, if only you can escape. So, as you get to the cave, the little girl that you rescued from the train tugs on Sounder's sleeve.
Yeah.
She's holding a piece of paper, which is folded neatly into a little geometric shape. For you.
Oh, well, thank you. What's on this paper? Like, it doesn't look like it has writing on it?
It appears to be a message, yeah. It says, "Darlings, I have decided that the best place to hide is in plain sight, and thus I shall be indisposed for some time. Contact me when you arrive back in Nightside or when you are leaving Dayside, and I shall make all efforts to attend." Signed, Angie. P.S. I'm keeping Tarrant for practical purposes. Little girl says, yeah, she left. They left. I think they like each other.
When did they? Like Sparrow
Well-
is looking around. Like, when did they leave?
And of all the people, like Ron, she can do so much better.
Let's not
Look,
worry about it right
look.
now.
I mean,
She keeps them out of our hair, and that's all that matters.
I suppose that is the definition of taking one for the team. But really, we didn't, there are better ways.
Just a bit.
Mhm.
Are we at least like we're in the cave now, right? Like we're out of the sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're out of the sun. So it's a small smuggler's hideout. There's no one here. It's empty. There are a bunch of crates, empty crates, 2 boats just waiting to be used. One boat that obviously has a hole in it that's kind of up on blocks being repaired. There's a stash of food and supplies that Sounder can easily unearth. And no goods waiting to be delivered here. So
Well,
it looks like a
like-
place you can rest, is what I'm saying.
Well, at least we can catch our breath.
Yeah. So there is a child with us now.
Hello.
What is your
Yes.
name, child?
She blinks at you. Huh?
Name. Do you have one?
Huh?
If you don't have one, it will be assigned.
She tugs on Sounder's sleeve.
Yeah.
What was that thing?
Which thing?
The thing we went where you found me. Where I
The
was.
train?
Where we met. No, what the gray thing.
And Sounder is deeply confused because, as far as Sounder is concerned, they met on the train.
The coffin?
I'm the gray thing.
The gray thing.
The evening.
Like Twilight?
Dusk.
The evening. Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Because
It was
as a-
pretty. That's what I am. The evening.
So as a player, what were we calling it that in between before? I'm
The
blanking on
gray.
it. The gray. Okay.
Although the twilight, the dusk, those are all equally acceptable terms for what you went
Yeah.
through.
okay.
The
Um,
evening
mhm.
is what people from Dayside call that.
Okay.
So Eve.
Yep.
Who do you belong to? Who are your people?
You.
Do you have parents?
Her. Grab Sounder's leg.
Oh no, Evie, sweetie, no, I can't be a parent.
Okay. Big sister.
I can do that.
Good.
Okay. Where did you come from, Eve?
She looks to Sounder.
When I saw you, you were in a train in a box.
In a train. In a box.
Why were you in a box, Eve?
I don't know.
Do you have any memories of anything before Sounder found you?
Sure.
What
Can
do you
you-
remember?
Yeah.
Like what?
What were you doing before you got in the box, Eve?
I was on the train. Oh, that was after the box. I was in a church.
What was
You
the
were in a
church?
Was it a big church? A little church?
I don't know.
Did they have any symbols in this church?
What's a symbol?
Just like a picture.
Yeah. Is the
yeah.
floor of the cave kind of like is there any sandy or dusty
Yeah,
bits?
it's
I think it's
sandy.
dirt
I mean,
mostly.
yeah, it's
Cool.
dirt and sand.
Do you think that you could draw one of the those images from the church, maybe?
Sure.
For us? Cool.
I like drawing.
Yeah.
While Eve maybe
She
is
holds out her
doodling
hand.
in the sand, because Sounder, I'm sure, has found a stick for her to,
Okay, yep.
you know,
Stoodling something in the sand.
while she's doodling in the sand, Sounder's gonna try and rack her brain for like common nightside, dayside church type stuff and like draw a couple of those symbols.
While Sounder is doing that, Oriana is literally like looking over the child's shoulder at Sounder, like
As we just look at like, we can't take care of a child.
yeah, and it's literally like the kid looks up at everybody's like, ah.
Yeah, just super, just like, yeah, okay, sweetie, that looks real nice.
Okay, the kid looks up at you.
Yeah,
What's
wow.
that? What
What'd
did
It
you
goes
draw
back to
there?
drawing. The kid kind of like hunkers over it so you can't see.
Okay.
All right, so as the kid is drawing, would you like to search this area in more depth, perhaps?
Yes.
Okay. Make
Yeah.
an investigation check, please. That's what would be the searching.
Oof. 7.
Okay. Like it seems like a pretty straightforward dock. There's an old, slightly weathered dock here built into the stone and set in there with metal nails. That's what Oriana figures out. It seems pretty solid. What did you other two get?
I got a 22.
Okay. How about Sparrow?
Let's see here. Just investigation. Got a 4.
Okay. Sparrow, you discovered that the water is actually quite a bit deeper than it would seem from the surface, which you discovered by stepping into it and sinking up to your waist.
Followed by a lot of cursing and then a sudden glance toward the child, and then like she gets very, very quiet. I already hate this place.
Yeah, probably should have warned you. The
As she slogs back out of the water.
She the child looks over to Sounder again and says, "What's your name?"
well, my friends call me Sounder.
Okay, Sounder.
Yeah.
What's her name? Points at Sparrow.
Well, her friends call her Sparrow.
Am I her friend?
I don't know.
What should I call her?
Well, Sparrow, what should she call you?
Sparrow's fine.
Okay, Sparrow. What's her name? She's real upset. What's her name? Points at Oriana.
I am not upset.
That's just what the child says.
That's what Ori says back. Like, I am not upset.
The child goes back to drawing something.
You're not gonna introduce me to your new friend?
Well, I don't know if you want to be called by your name or by something else.
I literally only go by one name.
Okay.
Everyone knows who I am.
This is Ori.
Ori. Okay. She draws something else. All right, and then she stands back and presents proudly what she has drawn.
What
Is
it?
it, is it a drawing of all of us three?
It is.
Oh,
Well,
God.
it's all three of you, and then a little person to be her,
Oh,
which she
That's-
has marked with an E, and then Sounder and Sparrow. Sounder is like you know, like a teddy bear, basically.
Yeah.
Aw.
And then marked with an S, and then Sparrow's like super skinny and like with really long hair and is marked also with an S. And then Ori is like and has horns and is marked with an O. And then you're all standing in that order: girl, Sparrow, girl, Sounder, Sparrow, Ori, and then there's a sun with rays above them.
my horns look nothing like that. How dare?
She's learning. It's hard to draw horns.
Yes. But
One other thing, why are you considering? Sounder, with that 22 investigation check, while the girl was drawing, you also said, you know, some of these smugglers' coves have an old trick, and you reach down under the little dock thing, right where it connects to the stone, and find a little hollow in the stone, and you find within it a sack of that jingles with coins.
ooh,
Sounder's not going to take all of it because, like, that's there for emergency use, and this isn't quite an emergency. But she is going to take some coins out of there. About how much
Okay.
is in it?
There's a total of about 50 gold pieces equivalent
Okay.
in various coinages, and scrip as well, which is the paper money. You do know that smugglers mostly work in coin because the value of scrip changes dramatically,
Yeah.
and you know they make their living on very strict margins.
Yeah.
So, but you do find some scrip in there as well. And there are also a couple of other objects. There's a small little figurine of a cat, like a hunting cat, like a panther or a tiger, perhaps, made of sandstone. And there are several like other small knickknacks. There's a sewing needle and a thimble, and like some silvery thread. Just a bunch of stuff. Do you want to take the knickknacks as well, or are you just taking like the valuables?
Sounder's going to take a minute to see if these knickknacks have some hidden value. Maybe magical value, but other than that, and that in a general sense, because she doesn't have detect magic.
Okay. Well, the needle is curved, making it ideal for stitching wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And thread of silver is pretty strong and flexible for
Okay.
holding wounds together.
Yep.
So that could be useful in doing medical stuff. The thimble, when it seems kind of like dirty, and you rub it a little bit and realize that it's platinum, so it's actually a pretty precious metal.
Pocketing the thimble for later, and the thread, and taking about 15 gold in mixed scrip and coin. And gonna leave the cat figurine though. She does take a moment to kind of pat its head for luck, because like we're really in it now.
Okay. Yeah, you think that it's probably like a lucky charm of some kind. So that seems reasonable.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
And then she's gonna put that back because like next person that comes might need it. I'm debating whether she puts something else in there from her own stock because it seems like a take what you need, give back kind of thing.
Why
But
don't you make an insight check, please?
okay.
And I'll give you advantage on this because it's a profession-related thing that you have some experience with.
Well, that's good because elsewise that would have been an 11. It's a 20.
Okay. Yeah. Now that you're thinking about it, you're pretty sure that some smugglers have a ritual of leaving things in like a bag or a box. And if you find the storage container, you're supposed to take some of the things and leave some of your own things as
That's
a
good.
kind of exchange to show that people have been there and to add your own energy to a place.
Yeah.
Smugglers eventually become known by items rather than by names. It's often very dangerous to exchange names in the profession.
Well, with that knowledge, can I get a sense of who might have left that cat? Have I seen it before, kind of thing? Or not it specifically, but like cat themed trinkets.
With that 20, you are pretty sure that there is, yeah, you do remember there is a smuggler called just the Cat. That is their nickname. And they are known for moving pretty valuable items. So and you know, this person is equal parts smuggler and thief. Like
Yeah.
what goes around is that this person like robs villas and takes items and sells them or smuggles them into between the two cities, Dayside, Nightside.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you've ever done business with this cat person before. Otherwise, you would have immediately recognized the significance. But it reminds you of what you've heard.
So it's like, okay, cool. I will need a minute out of character to figure out what Sounder puts into the thing, but she does put something back.
Right. So I'm going to assume that you're going to take a long rest here.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is all just kind of stuff that happens during your long rest.
Okay. So and basically like Ori's gonna try to like do different techniques to coax the child into drawing some sort of detail from the church that they were in allegedly before they went into the coffin.
Okay. Like you say, so what did the symbol look like? And she just points to the drawing.
But
the big sun, maybe? Sorry.
Wait.
No, that's a thought though.
Can I have Ori draw the symbol of Aris?
Yeah. It's just a sun with a bunch of rays. Unless there's some further complication to it that Allie wants to tell us about.
Yeah, generally it's the sunburst with the kind of a upturned crescent within the circle of the sun. So like the gold sunburst, silver crescent inside of it.
So Oriana draws that and then looks at the kid.
Oh.
Does this look familiar?
Ori's good at art.
Thanks. Did you see this before the train?
She runs over and hides behind Sounder's leg.
Evie, Ori's real nice. You don't
Okay.
gotta worry about Ori.
I mean,
Like,
let's not get ahead of
She
ourselves.
has a lot of teeth.
Well, so do I. She kind of moves her mouth a little bit so you can see some of her tusk.
The little girl goes up at you.
Look, we still have to discuss the matter of next steps.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's why I want to know about this
Okay, the girl comes back
spontaneously
over.
arriving mystery child.
I have so many questions too. Trust me, I don't know what to do here. This is not my purview.
All right, she keeps doodling in the dirt.
Maybe she's the person that the widow wanted retrieved.
Look, the widow said nothing about people. She said things. People aren't things.
I mean,
In
yes,
who? Yes, in our estimation, but what about in hers?
That is fair. She was having a very bizarre conversation before we left.
I'm sorry.
I
What?
overheard something.
what did you hear?
She's talking about us, I think. I'm pretty sure it was us. And I don't know who she was talking to, but you, Sparrow, she said they could have you, whatever that means. And that they didn't care about you, about Ori, but that Anji was hers, whatever that means.
Somewhere in the distance, you hear a dog barking.
Sorry.
Braying
It's
of the
okay.
dog.
Don't.
Just
Well, I'm no one's to take.
That's my thought exactly.
Oriana gives Sparrow the biggest side eye.
And she gets that, like, what? If you
Eve
have something to
also
say,
gives
dear,
Sparrow a
say
big
it.
side eye.
Do you want to tell us about the reason that you have that shiny new crystal and collapsed in the gray?
I
She
don't
what?
know why I collapsed in the gray. The crystal, as I said, it's a comfort aid. It helped me focus my mind.
Can I borrow it? Eve says
don't-
abruptly.
No, I don't think that would be wise.
Aw.
Can I have it?
Can she have it?
I'd rather not. It has quite the sentimental value.
Oh,
You
man.
don't trust me.
Ori would have said yes.
Do you
Ori's
trust me,
nice.
dear?
Not right now, because you're lying to me.
Eve goes like this.
And I... Truthfully, I don't know what it is. If you must know.
Who did you make a compact with?
That gets a look.
You think I wouldn't know?
And how would you know?
I can see the signs. I know. The question is, why are you lying to me about it?
She's taking a moment. She's like looking a little frustrated.
At this point, Oriana just kind of lightly puts a hand on hers and it's just like, look, if you need help, we can help you. You know how big my family's library is. You know that there are things that we can do to research this. Like, we can find out. And
she'll relax slightly and put her hands on top of the one that Oriana put on hers and just say, I am getting help.
you're doing that thing again.
What thing is that?
When you think you know everything, you get in over your head and you don't tell me anything that's happening. And inevitably, it's everyone around you that pays the price. So please, I am begging you. What is happening?
That gets a sharp look. The like, you just shoved a finger into an open wound kind of look. What would you know of prices paid? You weren't there.
But do I know? What do I know? Everything that I had, I gave up. Look at my eye.
I'm aware. You. And she's like trying to. It's clear even Sparrow, like who generally tries not to show anger, is angry. And she just kind of forces herself to take a breath. I never told you what happened down there, did I? When I left, so understand this. You gave up everything? I had everyone I set foot in that place with, that vault, die. Driven mad, dragged off into the darkness, absorbed by something I didn't understand. Not my fault. Not at first. Remember Valerian? My mentor, my savior from the streets, the anonymity, the living hand to mouth, picking pockets. Remember him? He died a madman with my sword in his heart. Everyone else? Dragged off into the dark by something I couldn't control. Because of me. So when I say I'm getting help, that's what I'm getting the help for. Because I don't want it to happen again.
She just sort of grabs Sparrow roughly and just like this.
She's just very, very startled by that sudden pull into the embrace, just like, ow. But then just like she probably would, probably would have been tears.
Yeah.
As she was getting worked up like that. But yeah, she just kind of sags a little bit. She doesn't let herself fully break down. She's not like
Yeah.
crying, but she just relents and like wraps her arms around Oriana's waist.
Whispered in her ear, Ori says, my price was that I'll never be free of them.
Just kind of nods.
Um
Now
so
the yelling has stopped. Sounder has probably drifted over to like inspect y'all for injuries, because I mean, at
Mhm.
least one of you was bleeding relatively heavily when we got off the train.
Yeah, Sparrow had a big hole in her shoulder.
Yeah.
So it's just coming in and like
using
now
some of that thread.
not necessarily the thread yet, but just I mean, I don't know how long we've been in this cave and whether or not, you know, stuff's been tended to yet, but like if it has, she wants to make sure that nothing got torn back open in that little, you know, argument. And if it hasn't, yeah, she's gonna probably start looking and being like, might have to use some of that needle and thread.
Eve comes over and she just hugs Sparrow's leg.
Aww.
Oh.
And Sparrow, you actually feel like a little like warmth, like healing energy suffusing you. And Sounder, as you're checking on her wound, it seems to be much better healed than you would expect from just being stitched up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you had bandaged it, and now that you found this needle and thread, you were going to come and stitch it, but when you take
It's
the bandage
not.
off, it's
Yeah.
closed.
Mima's healing poultice is so much better than I expected.
more that moment of, and the
Like-
only thing different is that you got touched by two different people. And so she looks at Ori, but I don't think Ori's healed anybody in the entire time that Sounder has
Sparrow's
ever
gonna
known her.
give Eve a look.
Healing
Like
is
that's gonna
definitely
be
not
that
Ori's
that
thing.
very bewildered, like, what did you just do kind of look. Like, well, it seems
Don't.
a little
Don't be sad, Sister Sparrow. Don't be sad. It'll be okay.
Yes, I'm certain it will.
The sun never goes away.
Oh God. Really?
Not here,
I
it
mean-
doesn't.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I told you, I've been over here before. It's awful.
I've never been to Dayside, but like that sun just looks so. I swear I've seen it before.
I have seen a great number of hells, and this is by far the worst.
I'm inclined to agree. We should at least rest and figure out what we do next. We need to get back to Nightside, whatever we're doing.
Apart from the train, how else can we get back?
There are
Ori looks
paths.
over at
There,
Sounder.
there are ways across.
Are you gonna be okay getting through the Grey Lake?
I don't
If
know.
I can, if I can manage to reach out to a couple of my contacts, might be able to secure a carriage or something. We can cram you in that, and that won't be so
Yeah.
bad. But
It definitely, as awful as putting you in the coffin was, it did seem like that helped.
There are things we're going to need to consider in trying to traverse back across to Nightside. Any gateways are going to be watched by the guard, more than likely.
oh,
I imagine
absolutely.
that the Arisians would have informed their superiors of what happened, and thus would be looking for anyone not exactly matching our descriptions per se, but those
trying
that
to get back.
Well,
those that have the air of Nightside about them.
Hmm.
There are potentially other paths across, but some of them are a little more perilous than others.
That's why I'm hoping I can reach out to a couple of my contacts, because
yeah.
they'll know which ones are a little less perilous for now.
I'm tired, says Eve.
All right, then.
Yes. One of the paths I took across in a previous excursion probably wouldn't be useful with Eve along with us.
Yeah.
Aw, I want to go with. I want to go with Sister Sparrow. She's nice. Eve just kind of sits down and like falls
Yeah.
asleep.
Well, the Shadow
Yeah.
Knives had tunnels.
Sparrow goes right on, uninterrupted.
Yeah. I mean, if the kid's falling asleep, she's
Oh
she's
no,
just
it's
gonna
totally
she's just gonna
totally in
talk.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Shadow Knives had means of making their way across. There are more
Yeah.
gates between the two sides than the guard are quite aware of. Many of them sheltered from the effects of the gray, so
Yeah, I know a couple folk who are pretty decent at taking the boat across, just kind of gestures at the boats here, but it's like, it's not ideal, but they know the ways.
well, boat passage would be very jarring
Risky.
as well.
Yeah. Plus, we dropped a whole lot of weirdness in the water on our way over.
Yeah.
Not sure how that's going to react with the everything else.
I mean, short of exiting the city and re-entering at nighttime, I don't. We might. I think it'd be better. We'd be better off trying for one of the more secretive passages.
Yeah, because I can only really disguise myself. I can try to disguise you guys, but it would not be as good, probably.
No, probably not.
Mm.
I'll see
Well,
about
you-
getting us a change of clothes for tomorrow. For, well, whenever we head out. But
the Smuggler's Cave does have like some basic changes of clothes that people can use if they come in. So you could just use those if you wanted to, or you can try and find something more suitable. Whatever works.
Sounder will probably change clothes here. Because I mean, it's just us here. So she's gonna change clothes. And in fact, I think Sounder, considering Sounder didn't actually get that beat up on the train, she's going to make the attempt while folk are resting, at least initially, to go reach out to some of these contacts of hers, some of her smuggling buddies, and work out something as far as like, hey, anybody have anything they need moved? Or, which routes are good right now?
Okay, so essentially, there's a communication system set up on the water in Dayside. In Nightside, it's much easier because it's just a matter of like lighting a lantern and putting it out in a particular place that indicates, hey, let's meet. But in Dayside, it's light all the time. So you don't have that option exactly. Instead, I don't know, what kind of system do we think would work here?
I almost imagine that it's very simple. It's just like a system of like flags or like colored streamers that it's just like the order of it tells you, who's looking for what, manner of speaking, like in very simple terms of looking to move something, looking to take something, looking to need help, stuff like that.
So Sparrow sits down cross-legged, starts meditating, or he finds somewhere comfortable to snooze for a bit. And Sounder, you pull out this box amongst the smuggler supplies. And you open it, it has a series of flags that mean various things. What message do you want to communicate?
I think she's trying to downplay the exact level of help she needs in a way, because she doesn't need anybody getting froggy and going, ooh, y'all did something a little too hot. We don't want that. But in essence, it's need to move quick and quiet. Which way do I go? You know?
Okay. So yeah, you find the suitable flag for that purpose, or maybe it's two different flags, and the combination
when I
of those
say
two
flags,
flags.
I'm talking like scraps of like cloth.
Yeah,
like they're not really
exactly.
actually.
No, they're like hazard tape that you put on the back of your vehicle.
Yeah.
And all that would be required is that you would paddle one of those boats around for a while, and someone will eventually see it and reach out to you. So it takes about an hour or so to make a more or less decent circuit of the bay. So you're just going to go by yourself to do that?
I mean, probably, because I don't know that any of the local smugglers wouldn't be like, who's your friends? Who's that there?
Okay. So yeah, you just go paddle out there while the rest of the team is resting. So Dayside is organized around this bay, which is not a lake, but like an inlet from the ocean brings in this bay here. And the city is built on two different peninsulas. And I guess that's more like a sound than a bay. Anyway, we'll get to the specifics later. And it rises up from the water, and there's kind of a lower income sort of place where people live and do business outside of what looks like a fantasy castle that rises up out of the stone above, connected by a series of ladders and stairs leading up into this much brighter, richer part of the city, which is, to be fair, about 80% of the city. So you are mostly signaling to the other smugglers and other ne'er-do-wells who work down in this area, your folk, contacts, other mercantile people. But your trip gives you a chance to look out at the city. And Sounder, you don't really remember having been here before. You just have this intense feeling of familiarity. Yes,
And
that's what you were saying.
For clarity, she's never been to Dayside, but something about the sunshine on maybe the water a little bit, on the rocks. It's like I've seen something like this before, and I just can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, so that feeling of familiarity does not go away. In fact, the more you see of the city, the more it seems it like niggles at the back of your mind that it's similar to something that you've experienced in the past. And as you're rowing, because this is just a little rowboat, you find just this great sense of peace and tranquility, such as you never really feel in Nightside. But here, the sun is shining, it's warm, it's bright. You can dimly hear music, like chanting, coming down from the city on high. You can see pennants flying in the wind. There are clouds, but they're not dark and threatening like the clouds in Nightside are. They're light and buoyant and fluffy, and they look comfortable. Like if you could fly, you could take a nap in those clouds. And your mind settles into this kind of easy, relaxed feel. And because the sun doesn't really set here, it moves a little bit. but you're not used to tracking time with the sun. That doesn't make any sense. You use a lot more time than you expected. When you come back, having finished rowing around, you had a great time. It was very nice and relaxed. Your fellows are stirring. Sparrow, you come out of your trance about the same time that Sounder gets back. And which means that 4 hours had passed rather than just the one that you intended to be gone. Or you're still snoozing away, and Eve is curled up next to Ori, also snoozing away.
I imagine, given, the hellfire and all, Oriana is basically a heater.
Yeah. Like a furnace.
Mhm.
Yeah, as she wakes up, Sparrow just kind of plucks at her jacket a little bit, and then like at the blood stains and stuff, and then just kind of passes her hand over it. And the stains are gone. Looking a bit smug.
Okay. Sounder, when you get back, something seems amiss here. Something's different. Sounder, both you and Sparrow can make insight checks, please, or perception checks, whichever you prefer.
Both are the same for me.
Same.
You're killing me with this 6. All right. I got nothing.
13.
Okay. Sounder, something seems strange to you. And when you pull up the boat to dock, you realize that there's another boat here that wasn't here before.
Low.
I think Sparrow's probably like taking that thread and is trying to like stitch her coat closed.
Oh, come on, Sparrow. That's for skin, not clothes.
They tore my jacket.
Okay, get a regular thread. That's for skin, not clothes.
Fine.
You know how hard it is to get that particular medical grade thread? She's about to launch into like just her usual logistics rant, because that is the person Sounder is. It costs this much money.
Since you're thinking about logistics, that's when you realize that there's another boat here that wasn't here before. And you pause.
And that's when
Or-
the hello?
Hi.
Sounder, says the voice, kind of echoing in the cave a little.
That gets
Oh.
Sparrow's attention.
Huh? What's going on?
A friend of mine. Don't worry about it. Go back to sleep.
Yes, a figure emerges from the shadows holding a crossbow.
Put that away. It's fine. They're my friends.
Actually, I am going to roll stealth because I can just straight up do that.
Just hide in plain sight.
Yeah, 25. So it's just
Shadow Dancer, just
yeah. Sparrow's just not there anymore.
all right. This big bulky figure, a person of orcish heritage, I'm pretty sure, points that crossbow where Sparrow just was. Like, hey, where'd
You
she
startled
go?
her. She's just hiding. Don't worry about it. They're friends of mine.
Friends of yours.
I got friends. Thank you very much.
That wasn't my implication. Those two are just a bit too pretty to be friends of yours.
What?
Just kind of shoves them a little. Rude.
So this is Thorn, who is a smuggler contact of yours. He is a person of orc heritage, either entirely an orc or partly an orc, whatever. But he's big and he's strong. And apparently he's also stealthy. All right, so
It's
Allie's
fine.
doing some shenanigans that she was texting me about. So
Good,
why
good,
don't you
good. Do it.
carry on with what you're gonna say, Sounder? And
Um,
Ori, I assume you woke up and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Just literally like that John Travolta gif, you know, like
yeah, just but yeah, no, oh shoot, I just mentally blanked. Now it's all replaced with John Travolta.
Thorn,
Thorn, yes.
Orc.
So is it likely that Thorn is answering the flag info or just happened to come here?
It depends on when he got here. You're not really sure when that is, but I mean, the fact that they're
Well, it
all
doesn't
still
hurt to
alive
ask.
suggests that maybe Thorn just got here, like
So
a minute or two before you, perhaps.
when'd you get in? How long you been here? Just
I saw the
paddling
flags.
around.
Yeah, you were out there for so long. I thought maybe the sun had got to you. I'd never seen you here.
A little.
He perks up to his full height. And you see Sparrow with her sword poking at his back.
Perhaps you might want to lower the crossbow now, dear.
I told you she
Slings it over
startled.
his shoulder. I see.
And she'll take the sword away. I'm glad we could see reason.
Are we quite done with the posturing and the measuring of various things?
I would like to be, yeah. Got shit to do.
I'm
Exactly.
content.
I'm
So
always content. Wave a sword around at everybody.
you want to tell your
Fancy sword. wave.
shadow lady to get out from behind me?
If I must. He'll step
He
around.
doesn't take it from behind.
He
That'll
claps
get
an
it.
arm around Sounder's shoulders.
That'll get an arched brow. But yeah, Sparrow will step around, draw her hood back down.
Oriana's just like, now there are two of them.
You're as bad a liar as ever, Sounder. On the shoulder. So,
So how's the husband? How's
well,
life?
you know, he's good. What brings you to Dayside? This isn't your purview, I didn't think.
Nah. Was moving something and it went sideways in a big way. You know that business with the train?
The Doomtrain crash.
Yeah.
You was involved with that?
No, I just was on the train. Lucky I jumped off.
You are lucky. Rescue efforts are ongoing.
Like shit, I
Made
lost
a tidy
everything.
profit. We stand to make a tidy profit off of those, in fact. People
Yeah,
need
sounds so bad.
supplies.
I
Do you know what they were carrying in that thing?
Passengers, luggage, rich people shit.
Not wrong.
Not the sort of thing that I really care about. Say, he looks at Ori a little more carefully. You're Hellfire, yeah? You employing my old friend here?
We have worked together, yes.
Coming up in the world, or maybe down, huh, Sounder?
shut up.
Something of a bit of a ragtag team, one could say.
Got a couple of jobs lined up, that's all.
He looks
Nothing to
over at
worry
Eve,
about.
who is now slumped over just by herself snoring.
So you know my policy on moving people, right?
I assumed this wasn't a slavery situation.
Yeah, I don't know
Never.
what her situation is. See, she was on the train too, but she doesn't remember getting on the train. So that's a bit of a problem. Do you
Too
mind
young to
keeping
be
it-
drinking, yes.
Yeah,
Drugged?
maybe. It just if you don't mind keeping an ear out about people upset that certain people aren't where they should have been, I'd appreciate it. That's not what I set the flags out for, though.
You need to get home.
Yeah.
That would be ideal.
You
Yeah.
got,
Rather not have to go through the nights.
what do you
I had
have
a
in
whole
terms
guardian
of,
on that thing.
really?
Stupid thing derailed the train.
Radiant construct.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things have always been a bit twitchy, haven't they?
Yes, it ruined my coat. He's got to plugs at the little hole again.
Well, fancy lady, I am so sorry. You need a new coat?
No, I just need to fix this one.
Shame. I could get you a nice, bright pink coat. Probably go real well with this whole dark aesthetic that you got going. You got to keep it balanced.
I don't do pink.
You got any thread? It's just like this constant bouncing around of like barter and give and take, like mid conversation.
So, getting back to Nightside.
Yes, I am aware myself of some tunnels that may still be in use that the Shadow Knives had access to, but I have no way of knowing if they're still viable.
Wait.
So your help would be
wait.
appreciated.
Gutter Mage, Hellfire, Shadow Knife.
I told you we got.
You're
a
on a
couple lines.
quest.
No, we ain't adventurers. We don't do the adventuring thing. Bad for
We're
business.
on a job. We would like to
On
get
a
back so that we can.
quest.
And the
This
fair
is-
lady, fair maiden that sent us on this damn quest would like to see us back.
She'd likely
This-
skin us if we don't come back.
This is
too.
wonderful. Garrick is gonna love this.
Shut up. Do not tell Garrett.
God's
The
below.
last thing I need.
So, you need payment if you want to get services to help you back. What do you have in terms of payment?
What are you looking for?
Mm,
Mental image of
think-
what are you buying?
if I was to transport you on by water, then 100 gold pieces a head.
Yeah, I
50
don't
for
need
the kid.
transport. I
She's
just need
small.
routes.
Let
Oh,
me
yes.
ask this.
The whole affair. Transport
does-
you back.
How does that even work? The two sides are entirely separated. How does one get back across the water?
Magic, of course.
Of course.
Garrick is the magician. I row the boat. And I shoot the people who don't pay for their passage. You know, my favorite part.
Sounds like you take a lot of pride in your work.
I do.
Thorn, I love
I'm-
you like a brother, but I don't need passage. I don't need someone to row me across. I just need routes, preferably
see.
by land.
I see.
On
Well-
account of some of the weird stuff that went over off the trails is in that water, and I don't want to find it.
Well, you can't fault me for trying.
I can't.
We all got to do business.
And that's why I came to you, because we can barter. I got some stuff I'm willing to trade, but I just need routes.
Okay. So, you want to use these tunnels that you're talking about. I assume they're in the city proper, Shadow Lady?
Yes, they would be.
I could get you safely into the city. You just have to do me a small favor. How's that?
Kind of favor.
Of course.
Well, Garrick and I make an excellent team. You know this, Sounder. But neither of us is what you'd call respectable. We just have these kind of faces, you know?
Yeah, his face like a.
Exactly what you're thinking. So, what I'm going to need is just have a conversation with a client that I'm hoping to do some business for.
And this client?
No one that you know.
Well, no, but I need to know who I'm talking to if I want to take this favor for you.
Lordling in the city, fancies himself a mercantile king, but he's really just a knave, as it were.
Rich tit playing at being a mogul.
Exactly. And I assume that one of yous, he looks at Ori, he looks at Sparrow, one of yous got the face and the tongue to make this happen. So, you convince him to hire me to move his goods. I move your goods, and by your goods, I mean yous. Hey, how's that?
We could have time for a conversation.
Perfect.
So, what can you tell us about this guy? Like,
Garrick's got all the information. I gotta take you back to my place. Cook you dinner. Fire snail
Garrick.
stew. You'll love it.
I'm not sure we have time for. And then Sparrow's stomach growls audibly.
It's been enough hours, enough time. Look, she didn't specify when we gotta get back, just that we gotta get back.
Yes, but I'd rather not keep our esteemed benefactor waiting.
Considering what happened, she'll have to deal.
are you going to explain that to her?
Yeah, I have a bone to pick with her.
All right.
Because that's going to end well.
You do all of that talking, and I'll watch.
Yes. Remind me when we do this. I want to bring popcorn.
The bonus, Thorn says, you get to tell Garrick all about your quest. He's gonna love it.
He'll appreciate that.
Oh, yes.
Is there by any chance like a library on this side of the city?
Of course. So
Okay.
many libraries, scrolls, books, places of learning. Whatever you like, Hellfire darling.
Never call me that again.
Okay.
She will stab you.
The only
With Hellfire.
trouble-
That's a pretty
I-
nasty looking knife you got there.
I still have a scar on my thigh from the last time. Anyway.
It looks great though. While you guys are having dinner, I'm going to do some investigation to see if the resources on this side of the city can answer any of our questions regarding the various things that we have seen and experienced.
Yeah. Just be careful out there.
Whoosh, she now looks somebody else. Where do I go?
Right. Yeah, you're fine.
Well, if you get in any trouble, I don't know you. Just want you to know that. It's very important.
I'm well aware. I have also forgotten what your name is. I'm sorry.
Good.
Hey.
Ori,
Uh,
just
what?
be careful, all right?
Of all of us, I will likely be the best at not drawing attention to myself.
For now. Look, just
Excellent.
don't say anything stupid to anybody, and you'll be fine.
My statement stands.
There are so many things I wish to report to you, but all of them are mean, so I'm not going to.
It's appreciated.
You get one.
Everybody gets one. I tried to take 2. That's why I got stabbed in the thigh.
And it only takes one lesson. Yeah, so I guess if or you can get directions for like whatever magical libraries are in the city.
Okay.
Cool. And then I'll DM you with what I want to do.
Okay. All right. So Thorn says, fantastic. Get on the boat. I have permission to dock. I would see you instantly arrested if you didn't approach with the proper permissions. Everything has duties nowadays. Duties, taxes. You understand.
Can't make a damn dime without them taking 9 of it.
Nightside,
course.
it's much freer. Dayside, gotta love that democracy, don't you? Let's go. Anyway, he loads you in his boat and he takes off for the dock
Yes.
at Dayside. So I think this is a good time for us to take our break. So 10 minutes and we shall return shortly. In the meantime, if you want to kick us in some money into Ko-fi to get us to add to the art fund, we would not object, because we have some cool art that you can probably see on the screen right now for our characters, but we have more characters and we would love to see them created. This art is, well, that's not our updated art, is it? But you may have
No.
seen our updated art on Discord, and we will eventually be putting in the updated art here on Twitch as well. So just forget that I said that, but remember that I said that for next time, because hopefully we'll have it for next time. Okay, 10 minutes, and we'll see you then.
Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey. It's a brand new day. On the South Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey. Heroes on their way. Fighting together against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, into Wonderland. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
And we're back. Hail and well met. Welcome to the second part of this episode in Dayside of Greymantle. And since this is the first time our heroes, heroes? Is it heroes the right word? Let's go with it for now.
Yeah.
Since this is the first time they are in Dayside proper, I decided that we are going to have our own wonderful Alexander Pitchford, the brain creator mastermind of the Greymantle setting, give us some Dayside description and notes and just some thoughts on the vibe. Take it away, Allie.
Well, Dayside itself is, as really best anyone can tell, a lot of very clean architecture, very kind of sweeping, majestic kind of construction, graceful spires, very white stone, the kind of stuff that like would catch the sunlight. And it's the overall vibe is just, warmth, comfort. It's the place where the majority of the people seem to be, if not wealthy, then well off, happy.
Makes
There's-
me sick.
I know there's something of a facetious undercurrent to it, to that happiness, something of a seeming facade. It is not little things here and there, the prevalence of the guards on the streets, the just generally the snooty attitudes of the highborn that reside in this portion, this iteration, this reflection of the city. It's not, once you get beneath that veneer, it's not the gleaming, radiant place that it first seems to be. But that idea that you kind of, I think you kind of described the castle very Disney-like, right? It's kind of that kind of vibe. It's a beautiful, sweeping, majestic fantasy castle. The city is this bright, gleaming place, but it's all kind of false,
In all the places where the sun shines, there is beauty and elegance and a sense of feeling higher and better than everyone around you. But the sun always casts shadows.
And I would say the most notable structure in Dayside would be the cathedral belonging to the Church of Aris. This is kind of the center of Aris's worship. So the temple is here, the main temple for the entire faith.
Okay. Would you say that the cathedral is in the center of the city, or is it one of the directions, like toward the east where the sun rises, toward the west where the sun sets? What would you say?
I would say toward the east, sunrise.
Okay. And obviously there's a grand window, like stained glass sort of thing, where when the sun is rising, it fills the chamber with ineffable radiance, that kind of thing. Yeah.
That kind of thing. I would also note that if you look at the two sides of the city as reflections of the other, then the Cathedral of Aris is actually in the same place as the prime cathedral of the various hell religions on the other side.
Which is also where your current hideout is. The so-called Devil's Choir, which is the upstairs of that cathedral, which looks a lot more gothic. Like, it looks like whenever I think of that place, I think of the set from the original 1989 Batman movie. That's what I think of. It looks just like that. Anyway.
Whereas like the Cathedral of Aris is like sweeping lines, and it looks like an elf built this thing. That's what this looks like.
And there are paintings everywhere, murals, like the whole ceiling of the cathedral is, painted in all kinds of angels and yeah. Like if you've been to Rome or various places in Italy and seen some of the architecture and stuff, it's got a little bit of that vibe to it, is what I'm picturing. So it is into this glorious, bright, celebratory place that our 3.5 dark heroes are currently making their way. Ori has separated herself from the group as soon as you landed. The landing process was long and tedious, and it involved Thorn showing several badges to the wardens on the dock to have permission to dock. It appears that as bright and upstanding as everyone is in Dayside, there is a great deal of bureaucracy, law enforcement, regulations, that sort of thing. And Thorn navigates those things with the sort of long-suffering, barely contained patience that one would get from dealing with, well, extreme tedium every day. But he does get through it, and then he escorts you. Since you've never been to the city, he tells you all before Ori leaves, here are some things to remember. If you see beggars, don't give them any money. You need a license to give money to beggars. Secondly, I know it's a new ordinance that they passed this last year.
I wasn't going to anyway, but
Who gives out money for free? But wow.
Eve was like, oh. He says, yes, well, certain interests are trying to lobby the government to revoke that particular ordinance.
So hang on. Here you can just like sit here and people will just give you money and like apply to give you money?
Well, you need to have a license to beg for money, technically.
Oh.
If you don't, they will
Okay.
drive you out of your
Oh.
begging spot, and you have to move on to somewhere that's more lax about it.
Ugh.
But there aren't very many beggars. You see, in Dayside, most of the work these days is done by automatons. You fought one on the train, right? That's one of the battle models. You'll see that there are more.
So that what they have constructs that do all the work for them now.
Luxury fantasy communism is what it's called. That's what we have. Or, well, it leans in close. That's what the leaders want you to think we have. But I'll talk about that more at dinner, eh, Sounder? Eh?
Yeah. Sounder's got that look of somebody who's like heard this spiel a million times.
You'll love it, Shadow Lady. Trust me. You'll love it.
Sounds like you'll love it.
You.
I'm
He
getting
looks-
that impression.
He looks to Ori.
Mhm.
You're going to slip away and go to a library or something, yes?
Yes.
Here's my recommendation for you, Horned Lady. When you pass yourself off as someone, you're probably going to want to pick merchant, noble woman, idle rich. What's your poison?
I was thinking about looking like one of the acolytes of the magic school.
Ah, good, good. Yes, the acolytes. They have the certain whiff of, what do you say? Arrogance.
Nerd!
Ah! Elbow sounder. Exactly. So, you probably want to make yourself look like a human or like an elf or both, whatever you want, and don't make eye contact with anybody. Keep your nose up, chin up, up. You'll do fine.
Thank you.
Try not to have too much fun without you, Ori.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
and heels. The taller, the better. That's what's in fashion this season.
Good to know. Okay.
Sparrow will kind of look down at her boots.
Also, very low cut dresses. Sounder just elbows him. He's all, I was just kidding about that one.
Charming. So very charming. You certainly make friends with the best people, Sounder.
I'm friends with you two, aren't I?
Touche.
You ran into that one. You ran into it. Arms
You
open.
did.
I think I'm going to leave now.
Just walk away.
Come on, kid. Let's buy you a sugar cloud. And Eve is like, ooh. And he picks Eve up and puts her on his shoulder.
As Ori walks off, Sparrow just goes, "Don't do anything I wouldn't do."
You'll know if I'm doing something you would do by the sound of screams and things exploding in the background behind me.
Forda, the hood of your cloak like kind of pulls a little bit, and you see that Eve, who is now up level with your head, is pulling on the hood of your cloak.
Yeah, sweetie.
What would she not do?
Lots of stuff that's really, really mean.
Oh, okay.
Sounder is just like every time having this immediate like stream of existential crisis because like there's a reason she doesn't have
So-
kids.
Yep.
So as we're moving, are we moving past any like are we going through a market or anything with like stalls?
Well, it's your city, are you?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, excellent. Yes, you are.
It's
The
it's
streets
probably in
are
a very similar place to
the streets are suffused with
Go ahead.
light. Like light starts to seep upward from the cobblestones. It's strange. There are shadowy places, but on the streets among the stalls, there's very little shadow to
She's
to come
immensely
across.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is strange for Sparrow. Very peaceful for Sounder though.
So one thing
No,
I
I
want to
thi-
do. Oh, go ahead.
I think that the fact that there's light coming up from the street is a little unsettling. On the water, it was like, oh, this is nice, just floating along, just oh,
Water's
why in the
sparkling,
world are there no
Even the-
shadows?
Even the paving stones are white, so of course it's like reflecting the
just,
sunlight.
ooh.
But one thing I wanted to do, and I even rolled a little bit for it, is I wanted a sleight of hand as we're passing like a stall that has like those Victorian style like tinted glasses.
Yes.
She is sleight of handsing a pair.
Okay, you get yourself some rounded sunglasses.
Yes. And
Mhm.
so she just has these now, and they're like as if she was wearing them the entire time. They have notably red lenses.
Yes. They looked black when you sleight of handed them, but when you put
Mhm.
them on, they're definitely red, very dark red.
Which is helping with the sunlight for her, and it's hiding her eyes. So
Mhm.
when that was half of the reason I had her do that, because her eyes are unusual and noteworthy. So
Sure enough, Thorn stops at one of the stands and buys a sugar cloud. Well, sweet cloud is what he calls it, which is basically the fantasy equivalent of cotton candy. And he hands it to Eve, who looks at it kind of quizzically and then takes a bite of it. And then her eyes get real big and she just,
It's good.
she seems to like it. Get anything for you, ladies? Sounder, rat on a stick, lizard.
Fuck you.
Nah.
And
there's our
There's
one.
our one. They don't sell those sort of things here in Dayside anyway. You'll have
I'd
to
imagine
settle
not.
for this. And he buys you a thing that looks like a sandwich. It's like a little pastry enclosed, hand-sized thing. And he hands it to Sounder. And he buys one for Sparrow as well.
Sparrow will take it.
Just kind of sniffs at it. Just that. What is it? Does it smell like a meat pastry kind of thing, or like a sweet pastry?
It smells like a savory pastry.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna munch on that.
Okay.
Yeah, Sparrow's eating hers without problem. Like, she's been over here a couple of times, so at the very least she knows how to not act like she's never been here before.
Okay.
Now,
It's
for clarification, that sniff was not a oh, what in the world? It was just kind of a let me appreciate this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
Fair.
it's very very savory, not especially strongly flavored, not aggressively spiced, shall we say.
Okay.
White person spiced, shall we say. So bland. And it is actually just vegetable, not meat at all.
I mean, not bad, not terrible.
Thorn says, yeah, well, if you want to get actual meat, you tend to have to go to Nightside. They don't eat very much of that up here.
Really?
Yeah, Eris knows why Durak wanted to live here, but you know,
It does seem
better
strange.
lighting, I guess.
The last time I was here, I saw a lavish feast with quite the spread of meat. But
Well, if you're among the nobility, that's a different question. You have friends in high places, do you, Shadow Lady?
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I wouldn't go that far today either. I'm a pretty low place. On we go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he leads you off to kind of a like middle class, middle of the road sort of set of a neighborhood where people live in tall houses, which are essentially like a lot of it's an
Kinda
apartment
townhome
complex.
style.
Yeah, it's kind of like an apartment mixed with a
Okay.
townhouse in a sense. like a 4 set of condo, right?
Okay.
And yeah, he leads you to one of those, and he says, "Durak, we're home," and so I brought guests. I hope you cooked enough for all of us. And you head inside, and we're going to shift over to Ori, who you followed them long enough to see that go down in the marketplace. So you heard all that they were talking about.
I feel like
And it
you
is at
absolutely spotted Sparrow stealing the glasses.
Oh yeah.
Eh.
And at that point, you do see a couple of unmistakably Mage Academy students breezing past. They don't walk. Mages never walk, they float. Their feet not seeming to touch the ground. And one of them is human, one of them is elf, and they are iridescent, effervescently beautiful, hair flowing in a breeze that no one else can feel, light shining on their skin, having an erudite conversation about something in Elvish. Do you speak Elvish?
Don't think I do.
Okay. Well, you can recognize the tongue as Elvish.
Oh, that's weird. How many languages do you get per intelligence point?
It's not counted per
It's-
intelligence
yeah.
point
Oh,
in
okay.
5e. It's just based
Ah.
on your racial background.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I
But
think
you
as a
probably-
tiefling, you'd speak common and
And Infernal.
infernal, and you might have another language or two depending on your
Yeah.
background. Your background might give you additional languages.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because basically I just have common and infernal, so I assume no.
Okay, I'll check your character sheet
Yeah.
and we'll figure it out. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
regardless.
yeah, you see them go by, so that gives you a pretty good model for what mage acolytes might look like.
Okay.
Would you like to follow them? Would you like to just kind of wait and then reshape yourself and then kind of head in the same direction? What do you want to do?
I
Or
kind
you
of,
want just ignore them? I don't know.
I kind of want to follow them.
Okay.
Just to like pick up, at a discrete distance, to sort of pick up mannerisms and, tells and do all the studying of like what they're like, how they interact with each other and the world and all of that jazz.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and make me a stealth check, please?
Okay.
They're not
Okay.
paying a whole lot of attention, so this shouldn't be too difficult. But you are in an unfamiliar setting.
13?
13. Okay. Yeah, you can follow behind them at a fairly discreet distance. They don't seem to notice you.
Okay.
They do eventually end up at a tall, round building with many windows on the walls, which, based on the number of similarly dressed and similar people of similar air going about, you take to be the Mage Academy that these students go to.
Cool. So before, so is that the do they seem to show any sort of what do you call it, like any sort of licenses or anything like that to get in, or can they just go in and out?
So as they approach, this is a pretty easy thing for you to notice, unless you have a wisdom penalty. Do you have a wisdom penalty or a perception penalty? Is it okay? What is your what is your passive perception? That's my real question.
11.
11. Okay, that's sufficient for you to notice this. When the mage students approach the entry gates to this building, these amulets that they're wearing glow briefly, and then they pass through what appears to be some kind of, until then, invisible force field. And it kind of shimmers around them in the faint blue color, which is the same color the amulets glow. And then they pass through. They don't even hesitate, just keep walking and keep talking. You can no
And-
longer hear them, though. Their
Hmm,
voices just abruptly cut off when they go through the barrier.
Interesting. Oh no. Okay.
Looking around, you can see that
Mhm.
the other mage students all seem to have similar amulets.
Okay. Oh no. All right, let me think. What do I want to do here?
Right.
You want me to give you a while to give you some time to consider?
I think
Because I could
yes.
switch back to them and just do a little bit
Yeah.
with them and then come back.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Drop me a message when you got it put together, and I'll get back to you. Okay. So while Oriana is considering the best plan of attack, Sparrow and Sounder, Thorn introduces you to Darak. Sounder, you've never met Darak before, although Thorn has told you a bit about Darak. Darak is a dwarf and a wizard. Thorn was a little bit non-specific as what kind of wizard Darak is, but he said that Darak changes things into other things a lot. That's how best he could describe it. Darak is an extremely cheerful, bubbly, very in your face sort of dwarf. He gets up and he shakes your hand and he hugs you, and he rubs his beard on your shirt a little bit, and he's just, oh, so good to see you, so good to meet you. Thorn's told me all about you. Hasn't told me about you, though. He shakes Sparrow's hand. He hugs Sparrow as well.
Oh.
Rubs his beard on
Yes.
Sparrow a little bit.
The pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And who's this little lady? I'm Eve. He says, why don't you go play with the boys? And she goes, okay, and then runs upstairs. Thorn says, yes, 3 boys.
Play nice.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Eric.
Yes.
It's in your DMs.
Okay. So she asked me on Discord. Okay. All right. So sure enough, Darak has cooked way more food than 2 people could eat. Plenty of food for 4 people to eat. Probably enough food for 8 people to eat. And there's all kinds of vegetables and fruits, and there is a haunch of meat. He says, it's a special occasion. And Thorn says, you've been cooking that all day. How'd you know it was a special occasion? And Darak says, every day is a special occasion. Every day is a good day, a bright and happy day. And Thorn looks over at Sounder like, see what I got to deal with.
Even Sparrow just kind of has this like.
And
I would have eaten them alive.
Darak brings out his crowning achievement, a platter of fire snails, and sets those down in front of you. This is a recipe from another world that I learned this from a traveler across the many, many realms of existence. Or he was very drunk. Either way, they're very tasty. Spicy though.
Sparrow will just kind of shrug and she'll, I'm take one and eat it. However, the proper way to eat one of these would be. I don't know if we're going for like tiny forks,
escargot kind of thing, or like.
Yeah.
Oh, they're big snails.
Okay.
Like 6-inch snails.
All right.
And they are fire red.
Sparrow will eat one.
Okay.
Never had one of these before. Sounder is not picky about food. Like,
I mean, neither is Sparrow.
Yeah.
I need both of you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Excellent.
Oh,
How spicy
yeah.
is this? We're about to find out.
I mean, I got a 12. That's not awful.
No, Sounder got a 2.
All right,
That is a
Sparrow. What you've eaten so far has not prepared you for this. It is, very hot, and you're like, mm, mm, and Thorn's like, I should have warned you. You're doing
The
pretty
na-
well though. Sounder has gone bright red and is like,
Sounder is like,
I feel as if the name should have been warning
Oh.
enough.
eh?
did I ever do it? Duroc says, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to overdo it.
I like spice, but this is, ow.
Clears out the sinuses, certainly.
Drink some of this. And he pushes over a tankard of some white liquid.
Definitely just doesn't even question it, assumes it's milk and drinks it. If it's not, she's up for a rude wake up, I think.
It is milk. Zesty milk, but milk nonetheless.
Is it zesty?
Mean.
What is such a strange word to use with milk? Zesty.
Hippogriff milk, Duroc says.
Oh,
The boys love it.
I'll bet.
And it kind of tingles on the back of your tongue, but maybe that's also the fire snails. Anyway,
Well,
Thorn says, I can't drink that stuff. Eat, please, plenty. There's plenty.
After that
Yeah.
encounter, Sounder is sticking to the known quantities of meat, vegetable, starch.
yeah, I think Sparrow will after that a bit of a failed attempt. Like she did okay, but it's still not the best. She will move over to the other foods. But yes, she will eat.
Okay. And throughout the meal, Thorn has kind of retired to being a little bit quieter, mostly because Duroc does all the talking. Duroc has so many questions for you. Who you are, where you're from, what you do, what Nightside is like, what your part of Nightside is like, what you think about Dayside, who made your sword, who made your clothes, how long you've been in business with Thorn. Thorn says, Duroc has lots of questions. How forthcoming are you going to be?
Well,
Only as much as necessary.
yeah, Sparrow's not going to go too into detail. Like, she might be a little more upfront about certain aspects, like, what is Nightside like generally? But
Yeah.
Okay.
as far as what they're doing, she's not going to be very forthcoming.
Sounder is as forthcoming as mostly I'm a carriage driver. Sometimes I go wander around, see what I can see. Deliver packages sometimes. You know how it is.
Saying that opens up a whole new line of conversation where Duroc wants to know everything that you have seen on your travels, what places you've been, that sort of thing. So the conversation goes on and on. Okay, we're going to shift back to Ori now. So,
Okay.
Ori, you are looking around the edges of the herd, as it were,
Yes.
and you eventually come across a mage of maybe 20 years, a human lad, young adult, but obviously quite young, just recently became an apprentice at the academy. You spent long enough looking at the people with their robes and the different chains that they wear to determine, like, higher ranking ones have more elaborate chains and more elaboration around their amulets. This mage only has the one silver amulet chain with the gemstone.
Okay.
And he is currently struggling to cast a spell which is not going well for him.
Oh no.
Like, you watch one attempt,
Mhm.
and he tries really hard, and just there's this poof of smoke, and like he gets smoke on his face, and he's missing an eyebrow, and
Oh
he's
no.
like, "Oh, ah, okay."
Do I recognize what spell he's trying to cast?
Make an Arcana check.
Oh god.
I only had you make this check because he's not doing it very well.
16.
All right. He is trying to cast a spell to summon a familiar,
Okay.
and it is not working out for him.
With the 16.
In fact, you can identify what is going wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yes, he is missing a particular component. The way he's casting the spell would require a bone from an animal, and he does not have a bone. What he has is a drawing. And every time he casts a spell, the little piece of paper that he has the drawing on lights on fire and explodes in his face.
Oh no.
And so he just draws another one on like another scrap of paper
Oh no.
and starts casting again.
Oh no. Okay. All right. So Ori is gonna like duck into a corner and disguise herself like one of the acolytes of roughly like lower middle management.
Okay. Higher than him,
Yeah.
but not super high. Okay.
No. Exactly. Somebody and it'll make sense why. I also want to cast friends on myself.
Okay.
So I'm doing that. And what to do? Okay. Yeah. So I want to cast friends with the kid who is having a hard time.
Okay.
All right. So yeah. And I feel like she'll look like another human or whatever. But you know, just very haughty, I guess.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's in the middle of casting his spell.
Is he being in a place where he is observed by others, or is he off to the side enough that no one's paying attention?
He's kind of in an alley.
Okay, cool.
Like there's a fountain in this alley which is trickling out water from a like a griffin's head. There's water trickling out. But that's it. Otherwise the alley's empty.
So Oriana would come up to this kid and be like, all right, so I don't want to be here. I don't know what you did in the library.
Ah!
But
The paper explodes. His other eyebrow's gone. He looks over at you.
yeah. Yeah. So I was set here to fix it. But what I'm going to need is that. And she points at his amulet.
but what
Do you want your problem solved? Or do you want me to report to High Lord Riker again that this happened again?
Okay, I'm gonna need you to make a intimidation check.
Or deception.
Deception would work too. Either way.
Yeah, I get advantage.
Yep.
Okay. That and
So unless he's particularly out of it, he knows that you are using friends. But then again, that's not unusual for someone to do when they have a job to do.
Yeah. 12?
Okay. He is suitably scared and confused, and he did just blow himself up twice. So he says, yes, ma'am. Takes off the amulet and he just hands it to you with shaking hands.
Thank you. For your cooperation, what you need is a bone of the animal you're trying to summon. That is why
Oh.
it's failing. And drawing is not sufficient. And you know that if you paid attention in class.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for your wisdom.
So I don't, you know, no. So why don't you go find it right now, and
Uh-huh.
I will meet you back here, and then supervise you when you do this spell again.
Yes, I'd
Yes.
like that.
Yes, you should go right now. I'm going to go clean up your other mess because this is my punishment, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
He wanders off. He says, "Do I have enough coin to
Mm.
buy something with a bone?"
Stop asking questions that I don't want to answer.
Yep. He
You're
turns
not.
pale and then he runs off.
Oriana puts on the thing.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you want to keep your current disguise?
no, she would shift to look more like a first year.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you shift to have kind of a robe more like what he was wearing, like maybe a little bit neater and nicer,
Mhm.
like you have self-respect. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, like
Exactly.
the confidence that he does not, albeit in a way that seems very unremarkable, in that, you know, this person is clearly middle of the pack, doesn't really stand out, you know, just one of those faces that could be confused for anyone.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you head up to the doors.
Yep.
Okay. You pause before where the force field was. The amulet feels warm on your chest. You want to go through?
Yes.
Okay. It's like walking through like a bubble of water, just and then you're on the other side.
Well,
The sounds of the town, the vague chanting that kind of fills the streets are gone, and all you hear is the murmur of voices, laughter, and sounds of spellcasting within the Spellcaster Academy. Yeah, so it seems like that barrier blocks sound both ways.
okay. Interesting.
Okay. Gonna make your way to the library?
Yes.
All right. So, back in the townhouse. After the meal, Duroc insists on pulling out a bottle of an amber golden liquid and sharing it around. This is a pretty good, classy alcohol as far as you can tell. It tastes kind of like top shelf alcohol in Nightside would taste.
Oh, thank you. Don't
You
mind
like
if I
that?
do.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Thorin
quite
pulls
pleasant.
himself a deep, deep pour.
I also think at some point during that dinner conversation, Sparrow would have described herself as a procurement specialist.
Ah. Oh, that's what you do with my husband. Thorn's like, and Duroc says, yes, well, it's an interesting story. And then he starts going into the story about how they first met. He bailed Thorn out of a jam, and they mutually found that his spellcasting talents were helpful in his work. At some point during this story, Thorn nudges Sounder and says, "You want to see the library?"
Yeah.
He slaps his hands down and says, "All right, gotta piss." He leaves the table. Sounder,
How I gotta come with you to piss for?
I might need help.
Mm.
Duroc's like, anyway, he has these most adorable habits. Let me tell you all about them. All right. So
In the
Sparrow gives Sounder this look that just says, "Do not leave me."
That
Yeah.
Sounder, on the one hand, as she's leaving, you know, here, you're lucky I need to know where the thing is about the bathroom.
all right. Yeah. Thorn
course.
takes you up to the library, which is so the townhouse. Looking at it from the outside, is of a certain size, like comfortable for 4 to 6 people if some of them are very small people, right? Cozy.
Mhm.
The library, when you open the door to it, is much larger than the space should allow.
Excellent.
You're expecting like a 10-foot by 10-foot room, like a closet, essentially. But what you get is like a 40 by 40 comfy man cave with books all over the place. There are armchairs, wood paneling, more booze. And Thorn says, "This is my favorite part of the library." Pours himself another drink.
Real classy. Ooh.
So, before I let you at these books, that should tell you who it is that I need this favor talking to.
You should, yeah.
So, his name is Lord Haral, and he spends most of his time at the arena, betting on the fights. You see, that's the thing with these folk who have more coin than sense. They need somewhere to spend it. The arena is that place. Haral's a big man, bright red hair, bright bushy red beard. Can't miss him.
No,
He'll try and set you off balance. He'll needle you a bit, just to try and make you lose face. He's got to be superior to everybody.
yeah.
Exactly the kind of person that neither you nor I like. Anyway,
But
I don't
he's got
expect
the money and he's got shit that needs moved.
that's right. You're probably going to want to take one of your extremely
Pretty
charismatic friends.
Yeah.
Haral does have an eye for the pretty ones. Male or female doesn't really matter, but I see you're keeping company with some lovely ladies these days.
Yeah. Just a shame they ain't single.
They aren't. That's the Sounder I remember. Always having those compunctions, principles, scruples.
Yeah.
You don't know me.
All right. You enjoy yourself. I'm sure Dirac will go on for another hour or so. Probably
Yeah.
2 if I bring another bottle. Speaking of which,
Try
grabs another
see if
bottle.
you can't rescue my friend. I kind of need her insight on something.
Anything you want me to find out about her?
No,
I
I
can
just
tell
need,
you're interested. She's got secrets, right?
I mean, everybody's got secrets, Thorn. Come on.
You need something on her? Something
No,
something
actually don't.
blackmailing?
We've been working together long enough where I don't need your help on that.
Okay.
I just
believe
need you to manage to distract your husband for a little bit. Give it like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Just give my friend a break. So she
Okay.
can come up here.
Good deal, Sounder. Always
We'll
good
take care
working
of
with
your
you.
parole problem.
Excellent. Otherwise, I was going to have to take care of my Heroa
Yeah,
problem.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that except me. Nobody else. All right. I'll see
See,
you.
my way works out better. And that's why Garrick likes working with me.
Agree to disagree. And then he heads out. Okay. So you're left alone in the library. What would you like to research while you're in the library? Or do you want to just kind of scan through the books for general knowledge, that kind of thing? Is there something particular you're looking for?
If she had more time, the second option would be what she would do, but she's looking for mainly 3 things. Details on the Grey, if
Okay.
he has any.
Mhm.
Mainly in the sorts of like theories about it and what sorts of things maybe live there, speculated on.
Okay.
The second thing she's looking for is how, what do the Doom trains run on? Like, what is their fuel? If that's in here. If not, no worries. Just general idea of how the Doom trains function would be great. What was the last thing? I wrote this down. 1 second. And thinking back on the sorts of wards that were in that second train car, trying to figure out what might they have been warding against to try and figure out what might have been in that car.
Okay. All right. I'm going to need you to make 3 Arcana checks.
Hey.
The first 2 have advantage, and the third one does not. While you're making those checks, let me check in with Ori real fast.
Mhm.
Ori.
Okay. Yes.
So this school,
Mhm.
like if you had unlimited time, you could get into a lot of chaos here.
Oh, I believe it.
You could do all kinds of naughty, mischievous things and make people's lives miserable. But you're here for a purpose, and that is to find the library and gain some information. That's easy enough to do.
If there's anything interesting just lying around, though.
I see. Kleptomaniac tiefling. Got it. Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to need you to make a stealth check or a sleight of hand check. Actually, a sleight of hand check would be better.
Okay. I do have stealth trained though.
Yeah,
but
let's do sleight of hand just because.
Okay.
See if you palm a thing.
17.
Hey, all right. So, you do find the library, and there are stacks and stacks of books. The library is not wide. The library is tall, and there are little platforms that you see people standing on that go up and down among the stacks of books. The stacks of books rise at least 100 feet in the air.
Okay.
And at the front desk, because there is a wide U-shaped desk behind which a steel-haired wizard is sitting. That is where wizards go to get access to the stacks, and each of them takes a circular token, which has a pair of wings on it. When you go up there, the attendant barely looks at you because you're one of hundreds of mage apprentices who come through here. Sees your amulet, waves her hand kind of dismissively. The amulet glows briefly green. And then she says, "Here," picks up one of the tokens, puts it down in front of you.
Okay. She would take it and ask, I'm looking for, I'm doing a research project on the Grey. What section?
Cosmology.
Okay. And then
3rd tier.
Okay.
Also, magical rods and wands of necromantic
Regalia,
origin. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Regalia Dark, 7th tier, section C.
Okay. So she takes the thing. Then
What is
start.
this, your first week? Anyway, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, it is. It is actually.
Shut up. Yeah, so then she's basically going to try to find any promising tomes about the gray, specifically trying to determine either any sort of legends or local folklore about, the child, and trying to find any sort of clue as to Eve's connection with it, as well as any of the demonic entity or fiendish entities or that might be tied to the gray, or have some sort of connection with it.
Okay, great.
And then with the rod research, she wants to see if there's anything on the weird rod that we recovered from the train last time.
Okay. I'm going to need you to make 3 Arcana
Mhm.
checks, each of which have advantage. All right. Let's go back to Forda while you're making those checks and just note down the results. Okay,
Cool.
Forda, what did we get on our checks?
The first two were 15 and 20, respectively. The third was 14.
Okay. So you do find a book called Cosmology of Balance by Polygona the Seer. Apparently a sage wizard of some kind. And it is all about that the world exists on a balance point, and Greymantle is built at that balance point. The gray, many sages have many theories about it. The one that Polygona holds to is that the gray is the exact balance point, the crack between many dimensions of reality around which the city is built. It is neither light nor dark, but a balance of both. It is neither law nor chaos, but a balance of both. It is neither hot nor cold, etc., etc., etc. A perfect balance of all forces. And mortal beings are not intended to enter the gray. I mean, even powerful extraplanar beings cannot exist there for very long. And based on the seer's own research, anyone who spends an extended period of time in the gray eventually loses their connection to the world around them. They cease to care about anything. All of their interests and desires fall into a perfect balance. It is, Polygona theorizes, a kind of enlightenment, but a kind of unchanging, eternal death. So that's what you get from that. Also, there's a bit about, and this is also something that Ori is going to find in her studies, that anyone, any entity with a connection, a very strong connection to one of the primal forces that are arranged in balance around this fissure in reality, the gray is very hard on them. That it is very, it's like a shock to the system to be pulled so far away from your own alignment, as it were, with the cosmic forces. Not alignment morally, alignment metaphysically. Okay.
Does shadow happen to be one of these primal forces?
Well, let's see. What did you get on your Arcana check on this first one, Ori?
The first one I got a 15.
Okay. Because you knew to look for that specifically, you also find a book about Greymantle's cosmology, not by Polygon the Seer, but by a slightly more cracked philosopher. We're going to call him Theodore, who wrote a tome called Balance is Chaos, and it is about the cosmology of Greymantle. And he specifies that you will find in the works of lesser scholars, such as Polygon of the Seer, that there are 4 forces fundamentally that our world is balanced around: law and chaos, good and evil. But there are truly 38 forces that our world is balanced around, and here is the list. And then
Oh,
he
God.
starts listing them out, and shadow is one of the ones that's listed there.
Ooh.
Shadow is counterbalanced against light, which darkness is also counterbalanced against. So you recognize that that might be a flaw in his thinking, but you know, he's very passionate about it.
Okay.
Ori, your second result, Doomtrains. Or no, this is Sounder, sorry. Sounder, your second result, you were looking up Doomtrains. You got a 20. Doomtrains. The Doomtrain is called the Doomtrain for several reasons. One, it's extremely dangerous to work on. So it acquired that moniker early on in operation. 2, it is fueled with life essence, which is to say that could take the form of plant life or animal life. It's a bit like burning coal is like burning life essence, but you don't have coal exactly, so you feed it with bones and cut down trees and things that used to be alive. The Doomtrain is the most reliable way through the gray, according to your researches. This, you found a smuggler's guide to bypassing the gray, and it's telling you these things about the Doomtrain. Because the Doomtrain moves at such a velocity that it penetrates the gray quickly, faster than anyone can be adversely affected by it. So it's one of the most reliable ways, but it's also one of the most expensive ways because getting a berth on the Doomtrain is very expensive and difficult. Top level smugglers with lots of resources and occasionally other organizations move important, powerful, dangerous goods through the gray on the Doomtrain. It's the best way to do it. Also because the Doomtrain is impregnable. Who would try and rob the Doomtrain? Whomst would do that.
Whomst.
What
Have to
crazy
be.
person would do that?
Only crazy
Exactly.
people. You. All right. Ori, what did you get on your researches in your second check there?
Oh, 4.
4.
Yeah.
All right. You wandered into the necromancy section and you just found a bunch of books about weird necromantic creatures, and you are going to have nightmares for some time.
Great. Hate wizards. And they say us warlocks are evil.
Those enchantment wizards you gotta watch out for.
Yes. There's a particular monster that you read about. Let me see if I can find what it's. I'll get back to it. And I'll tell you about that in a second. So that particular research was largely fruitless. Let's go back to Forda about the wards on the train car. All right, so with your 14, You remember the symbols. Those wards were clearly wards against necromancy and against undead. So whatever was being stored in that car was probably very necromantic in nature.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Ori, the creature that you, okay, so you open this book about necromantic creatures. You open this book and you see basically a zombie doll or a child. It's a doll the size of a child.
Ugh.
So it could be a doll or a child or both. And it is called, according to the text, a sleigh mate.
Ah, I hate that.
Apparently these are usually bound to particular places or particular people, such as a guardian or as a tormentor for unruly children. And then you close the book and you put that shit back on the shelf. Anyway, but that looked a little bit like Eve, which was very unsettling.
Ugh, I
Except
hate
that like her mouth was stitched closed. All right. Anyway,
Ah, ugh.
very gross. Okay. The last thing was Ori looking up the rods and wands thing in the necromancy section. What did you get on that check?
14.
Okay, 14. All right, so you find a book about rods that have necromantic effects, and you breeze through it. You don't find any that look very much exactly like the one that you did find. But with your 14, you do come across a footnote that says, see Fistulus' other work on rods, infernal rods. And there's a helpful note scribbled in the margin about what section of the library that's in, because it seems that whoever checked out this book also checked out that book last.
Interesting.
So you want to go check out that book?
I kind of do, yes.
Okay. So you open that up, you look, and it is the first one is exactly the rod that you found. It's called
Okay.
a Rod of the Pact Keeper.
What does it do?
It enhances your connection with your fiendish patron.
Oh.
Although there is a note scribbled in the margin in that same hand that says, can apply to all warlocks. And basically what it does is it allows you to draw on more of their power than you would normally draw upon. Since you've identified the item, I'll just put it on your character sheet.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And I see it's about 9, so we're almost done. So I want to revisit Sparrow real fast. Sparrow, Thorn comes back with this bottle. And Durak is very pleased to see this, and he drinks more. And Durak has been drinking very steadily.
So has
And
Sparrow.
And it has not at all slowed him down. At all. Like, there are more stories, but they're blending together. Because Sparrow's getting little loose.
I rolled a con save for myself just to see. Yeah. I got an 8.
Okay.
So I feel like she's like rolling with it now.
Living her best life.
So you're having a good time with Durak. Like, his stories, he was annoying at first, but now that you are like several drinks in, I mean, some of them are kind of funny, and you're starting to like get the feel for his humor, right?
Right.
And then Thorin comes back, and he looks at you, and he looks at Durak, and he bangs his hands on the table, and he says, "Upstairs now." And Durak goes, "Huh?" And Thorin says, "I have needs. Upstairs now." And Durak goes, "Well, you heard the man." And then he heads off, leaving Sparrow alone with a bottle of liquor.
I'm impressed that works. And she's just kind of like wobbles a little bit, pours some more into the glass, and then she just looks at the bottle, looks at the glass, drains the glass, and then takes the bottle up. It like kind of staggers, trying to find wherever the hell Sounder.
Okay. So there are multiple stairs because there are multiple levels in this building. 4 levels to be precise. Where you were eating was the bottom level, and then there's the second floor where you hear the kids playing in like a side room, and Eve is like chasing them around, and they're having a great time. And then there's a doorway at the other end of the room that is slightly cracked open. Thorn left the door open when he left the library.
She'll kind of sway a little bit down
All right,
down
so
toward
you're
that.
heading that way. The door opens inward. As you approach, the door just kind of clicks shut.
Rude.
Like right before you got
like
there.
she'll kind of like blink at it and say rude. And she'll try to. She's still holding the empty glass and the bottle in one hand, so she'll just kind of like thump on the door with her foot.
Okay, no response.
Sounder, are you in there?
No response.
Bloody hell. Just kind of trying to like fumble with these. Like she could set them down. She hasn't really twigged to that. Kind of like trying to like clutch the bottle under an arm and hold the glass in one hand. And she just tries to open the door.
Okay, yeah, it opens easily. You walk through and you find yourself on that plain.
Oh
The
no.
red sky and the clouds in the distance.
And suddenly she is very sober.
Glass falls out of your hand.
Yeah.
Still holding the bottle though.
Oh yeah, the bottle's still kind of like clutched under her arm.
And you look around, but the Shadow Crown is not here. It's just you and that storm in the distance. You see crackling red, jagged lightning. And the storm seems to be approaching.
I am not nearly drunk enough for this. She takes a swig directly from the bottle.
You hear a boom of thunder as the storm sweeps toward you. You see lightning crackle down and strike a mountaintop, and the mountaintop just shatters and stones go flying in every direction.
All right, if the storm's rushing at her, she will try to like brace herself, throw an arm up over her eyes or something, just to kind of. I mean, she's still wearing the sunglasses, I'll note, but she just kind of like tries to shield her face from the onrushing storm.
I was just picturing like
Freaking Jurassic Park moment.
yeah, exactly. Alan Grant. Yeah, okay, so the storm comes rushing and you put up an arm, and then someone is touching your shoulder and shaking you, and you realize that it's Sounder. You're standing in the library.
You need to sit down a moment? You good?
I think that I do. She'll like if there's a chair or something, she will.
Yeah, there's a very comfy armchair right there.
Yeah, she will seat herself, probably kick her feet up on something nearby, just like heeled boots just right on top of the table next to it or something like that.
Yep.
And then she'll just take another really long pull from that bowl.
Yep. You do notice that you don't have the glass.
No. Is there glass on the floor?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Just like I need a moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh shit! I don't think you're gonna be able to help me if you're drunk. Damn.
I am perfectly capable of And she'll just kind of trail off for a moment.
Capable.
I'm perfectly
Culpable.
capable.
Perfectly culpable.
Did I say
Yeah,
culpable? Did I
but
say
that-
No.
culpable?
That missing glass is tickling at your brain,
Did I?
and that seems like a reasonable place to leave off for the moment because we are after 9 and people need to get to sleep. So we'll leave you with that mystery. Until next time.
Wait. What did I sneak out of the mage college? What did I pilfer?
So Ori's walking out of the mage college, and your amulet flashes again as you walk through the barrier, and then you pull out that token stone with the wings on it. You do toss it up in the air, and it just kind of floats back down to your hand.
Oh, cool!
All right. And on that note, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. I have been Eric Scott DeVee, the DM of this campaign. Greymantle will continue in T-minus 2 weeks. That is, I believe, May 8th. May 8th.
Sounds about right.
Put that on your calendar. And we will learn more about this mysterious halal person and the arena where social skills and or combat skills will come into play. Take it away, Allie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. I am Alexandra Pitchford, or Allie for short, to most people. You can find me generally on Twitter at Lexi Phoenix. I do have a website that I'm more than happy to link in the chat over there. And you can also find me honestly tonight for me, tomorrow morning for everybody in the States over on twitch.tv/polishcryptid, along with Forda for the Wandering Menagerie, which is a heck of a lot of fun. Multiversal mayhem, just kind of everything's died and collapsed back on itself in a new universe. So it's a lot of fun. So definitely check that out.
Oh, I guess that brings it around to me. Hi, I'm Forda. I played Sounder today, and same time as Allie, I'm going to be playing Wandering Menagerie on Polished Cryptid's channel. We're going to fight a mecha squid, maybe.
Oh yeah,
Kraken?
I forgot about
I
that.
don't know. Nah, questions.
Nice.
Questions.
Nice.
Hello, my name is Jen. I go by Savage Barrow on the internet. SavageBarrow.com is my amazing website for nerdy apparel and accessories. Please do check it out. Tonight I played Oriana Devereaux, and I was very happy to get to